Hello and welcome to another episode here at West Coast Dogman Project. I'm your host, Shane Michael Crisp, and I'm joined with my partner in crime, Todd Metz. And we are honored to have the founder of the International Dogman Project, Mr. Nick Valente. Nick, how you doing tonight?
Oh, I am doing fantastic, guys. I like your intro. Music, pictures, everything. Man, you guys really got it going.
Appreciate that, brother. Todd, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, doing good. Doing good, guys. Looking forward to it. So, hey, let's get it rolling.
Yeah. So, Nick, you are a cryptozoologist, a 14 researcher, and the founder of the International Dogman Project, and very boots on the ground. I mean, when they say, hey, send a team out, you are out there with the team, no less than 7. I'm a big follower of yours, so
yeah,
and a big fan. So
that's the safest way to go.
Yeah,
I got 7 guys that I know have my back, and they know I have theirs, and we're out there. We're out there for one reason and one reason only, is to do the research. To take pictures, find out what's going on in an area that's been reported to us. I mean, this year has been a busy year for boots on the ground for me. Been down to North Carolina 3 times already. Wow. New Jersey has had a lot of things going on, which is unusual. I mean, in the past, I had 3 things go on in New Jersey in 3 years. Now, in the last 3 months, I've had 6 things go on in the state of New Jersey. And to anticipate you asking me why, I'll tell you why. Because they're doing building. They're building in the state of New Jersey, and they're putting up townhouses and houses. And when you do that, you take down forest areas, which is what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And they're pushing cryptids and animals alike, further and further away. And they're actually going through people's backyards. I had that happen, I guess it's 3 years ago at this point. A lady that lives 900 feet from me, just 3 football fields away, calls me up at 6:30 in the morning. And she had a dogman. I want to call it an encounter, but it wasn't that long. It was a sighting. Mm-hmm. And that's in the neighborhood where I live. And this is ridiculous. However, there is a large state park not too far from where I live, so I guess that's why. But the constant building of townhouses and stuff is just pushing and pushing and pushing everybody that's not a human to other parts.
Yeah, sure. Because you're not too far from the Pine Barrens, right?
Oh, yeah, I am kind of far from the Pine Barrens. It took me about 2 hours. I had spent well over 6 years investigating the Pine Barrens for the Jersey Devil. That's our state cryptid over here.
Yeah.
And like I've said on other programs, I found out to my satisfaction, because as you know, my mantra is to prove or to disprove. I'm not going to bring bullshit to people, excuse my French, out there. I'm not going to bring that to the people out there. And if I find it's not a cryptid, well, again, it's not a cryptid. And that's what I found with the Jersey Devil. The Chupacabra, I found the same thing. And Mothman, I have my theories on it because I've been down there and I've investigated that too. I mean, I've been all over the country. It's just a fun time. Something I've always wanted to see, but never was able to see. I guess I'll have to get together with my buddy Greg Yost if I want to see one, but a Sasquatch.
No,
I have never seen one. I've heard the tree knocks. I've seen the teepees that they build, and I found out why they do tree knocks and why they do teepees, but never got to see one exactly. And I was up in Washington State for a good week and a half one time. We never saw anything like that. We saw quite a few large brown bear and 1 grizzly bear, but that was about it. No squatches. Damn.
No squatches. You gotta add that to the bucket list. I mean, you've seen Dogman. I know you had your encounter. I mean, we'll jump into your encounter here in a little bit, but I mean, yeah, and you've had a couple run-ins actually with the Dogman, right? Not just with your encounter. So I mean, we can also talk about that as well. But real quick, what did you find on the Chupacabra? Was it just a coyote with just mange? Or that's what I really think it is.
Well, I did get to take some samples back, and I gave it to a veterinarian, a friend of mine, and that cost about $275 to have a DNA run, and it came back half wolf and like 45% coyote, and then 5% unknown. Now, the thing with the Chupacabra is that they have a mange-like disease, not mange, but it's like a mange disease. It's a skin disease. It causes their skin to have a light blue tint to it, along the top of their heads and all the way down the middle of their body, back down to their tails. They have about a good, I'd say about 3/4 of an inch of hair, and that's it. Just that one ridge line of hair. And that's what they are. And because they have this skin disease, it causes them immeasurable pain, and they lose their ability to hunt. You know, a wolf can hunt rabbits and deer and stuff like that, and coyote can do the same. And this seemed to be a hybrid mix of a coyote and a wolf. And you would think that the thing would be an excellent hunter, but with the disease, the skin disease that it has, it loses its ability to hunt, and therefore it goes after goats and sheep and chicken and even dogs and cats, you know, things that are not going to put up a big fight versus a 40-inch animal that it is. And I guess it just does something to its brain. But the fellow that actually shot one in Mexico, and I went over to see the guy, I had him cut open one of his sheep because he said, "Oh, no blood, no blood." I said, "See, blood, it's in the body." I don't speak Spanish, so well, my buddy Tommy did. He explained to the guy. I had to give him $20, and he cut it open, and he said, "See, no blood, no blood." I said, "You cut that artery right there." He cut the artery, and you could see once something dies, humans included, your heart stops pumping blood. I mean, it's a scientific fact. I'm not telling anybody anything they don't know. And once that happens, and in the case of this one sheep, well, it happened. It stopped pumping the blood. It had puncture marks on its neck where it got killed, but that's it. And once the blood stopped pumping, it started to be hardened and become a gelatinous substance, it looked like cherry jello.
Oh,
you know, I hate to spoil it for people. They won't eat cherry jello anymore. I think of dead chupacabras and sheep, but
right.
Inside the artery, you could see it was in there, you know, and it was a gelatinous substance. And he's a rancher farmer, this Mexican fellow, and he squeezed it, and some of it just came out in a little block, you know, a glob, and he's looking at that, scratching his head, saying, "Oh, blood." You know, we tried to explain it to him, but yeah, I mean, I try to go all over the place. If there's a call and there's enough evidence, I want to speak to the people like I'm speaking to you guys right now.
Exactly.
You know, I put them on video.
Yep. Exactly.
And I watch their facial features. I listen to their story. I'll be honest with you, Jeremiah and I were on with another fellow in the community, the cryptozoology community, and we had a witness out of California. And the guy worked at a small airport, and he was telling us this story. But his story got so far out there that it was like, no, he's bullshitting us at this point. There I go again.
But
I
good,
mean,
good.
You know, BS is my big word there. I don't say the F word, so at least I got something out there. But anyway, this guy starts talking to us about groups of dogmen running rampant at nighttime on the airport where he's a security guard along with another guy, and groups of 60, Shane, 60. Yep. Now you're in California. Do you have any groups of 60 dogmen running around?
Well, Nick, I actually did boots on the ground research. My wife and another researcher from Central California went down there, and we did research the area, and we checked where he took us to this preserve. And
you got the same guy?
Same exact guy.
Same guy.
I got him from Daryl Denton actually reached out to me and was like, "Hey Shane, this guy's calling me in the middle of the night, please." And I know Jeremiah was talking with Daryl, and they were going to drive out there to themselves. And it's just like, he went on a limb and was like, "Hey, can you go do this investigation for me?" But I agree with you, Nick. I don't want to, say the guy's name or, defame.
No, we don't have to do that.
No sign of dogmen in the area, but I did do research on the area of Mount Rubidoux, and hikers have actually, because the mountain was actually used during Prohibition during the 1930s to smuggle alcohol through. But hikers that hike the mountain actually have rocks thrown at them and have seen glyphs stacked up. So to me, it's more maybe it's an individual Sasquatch or maybe
Sasquatch, yeah.
So
Dogman, I don't have any report, Shane, of a dogman throwing rocks.
Exactly.
They're going to give you a chesty growl tell you get out of the area, or in those few occasions where they do take down a human and take them away, they're never seen again.
Yeah.
But this young fellow had a very vivid imagination, and like I said, I want to prove or disprove, and I could tell because he was switching his story up here and there, and groups of 60, there were 8, some of them 12 feet tall. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Dogman doesn't do that, and they don't travel in that kind of a bunch. They're basically family bunches that they travel in. Now, Sasquatch, okay, you might have a good group of Sasquatch, 20 or 30 of those, but Dogman, no. So I told Jeremiah, I don't think we're going to have him on the show because I'm just not going to put up with the BS. You know, it's wrong.
Yeah,
and
then, it's like what you say. You prove to disprove. So
yeah, and then check this out. About 4 weeks ago, we were interviewing this one fellow, and he started out really good for the first 10 minutes, and then he just started to go out in the left field, and it was like, and then here's the coup de grace. He got into an area. Now, mind you, I'm a cryptozoologist and a 14 researcher, yes, but I'm not an expert. Nobody is an expert in cryptozoology. Nobody by any means. I just have a lot of time, a lot of boots on the ground, and a lot of time studying cryptids. But this guy got into another area where I am an expert. Absolutely. And he started saying things, and I was like, no, that never happened. And he must have said about a good 12 or 13 things that were, in my area of supreme expertise. And I talked to Jeremiah after our, little interview with the guy on the show. And I says, we can't put the show out. So wow. the show never went out. We wasted a good hour and a half and the show never went out.
That's unfortunate,
I'm sorry, guys.
5 minutes of fame.
I'm not going to take the BS. And I mean, it's bad enough. Cryptozoology gets a bad name. And then you got people doing stuff like that. I'm sorry, Todd, go ahead.
Yeah, no, Nick, what I was going to say is, when Shane and I don't know if you've watched some of our interviews in the past year, in the past month or two, but we'll, like you say, you want to try to, speak to people, try to figure out, if what they're telling you makes any sense. So what we do is we pre-interview, our people who come on the show. We talk to them, we get them on the phone. We both, listen to their stories. And, if we hear something, over the period of those conversations that's total BS, or it's just way outside of the realm of something within the Dogman, activity. Yeah, we're not going to put it on the air. Just forget about it.
I'm just not going to do it. It was a waste of time. I mean, hell, I could have went and did some overtime that night, but
sure.
I mean, we're listening, and well, Jeremiah's great in that respect. He and I, we're partners, solid partners. We're brothers. Yep. And we discussed it. He agreed. If he didn't agree, well, then I would have went along with him. But so that's how that goes.
Yeah, I agree. It's unfortunate. And like you said, that's why cryptozoology gets a bad name, and people are hard to believe, these things do exist because of stuff like this. But before we go on, I just want to give a special shout out to everybody that's in the chat. I'm just going to post up their comments real quick up on the screen, and then we'll jump in further on to the Dogman with you, Nick. Let me just do this real quick. Nicki Minaj said, "Hey guys." I don't know if that showed up. Did it show up? Okay. I think I'm lagging.
It did momentarily, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Nicki Minaj said, "What's up, guys? Sugar Britches, howdy. Good to see you." Sugar Britches is like in every single podcast group and is a moderator. I know Sugar Britches is on PRT with Josh. I've seen Sugar Britches. So
I
appreciate you jumping on.
Somebody, Tomes?
Yeah, Tombstone's on.
Tombstone?
Yeah, casual
conversation
with G&A. They got a really good podcast as well. You should check them out sometime. Howdy, ladies. Tombstone, good day. Good. Thanks for joining on, Usay. Good to see you. And Nick, platform's yours, brother. So, yeah.
Hey, I just wanted to mention something that's going on in this September 2023 in Fort Worth, Texas, and I think at the end of the program I'll mention it again, if with your permission, that we're having the second annual Dogman Encrypted Conference in Fort Worth, Texas, September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. The first is VIP night. And if you do that, you get a full dinner. And I mean, you might as well buy the VIP tickets because you get a big swag bag full of really good stuff. You get a full dinner and you get to talk to all of us ahead of time, just one-on-one. We're circulating in there, and the VIP tickets are limited. However, it's well worth it. I mean, you're going to go out and spend $20 a person for dinner anyway. You might as well come here and have a quality dinner. It's a Texas barbecue dinner with all the trimmings. And, I absolutely loved it last year. It was just really, really good. And I can't wait for this. This is going to be a good time. So guys, get your tickets and ahead of time. This way it doesn't sell out.
I know I wish I would have had time to have saved the banner. I would have posted it because Josh has a whole lineup, including yourself. DA's going to be there. Ron Moorhead.
Oh, yeah.
Jessica Jones, the whole lineup. I mean,
Jessica, right.
Yeah. So, and I was going to ask you real quick before we jump on, how much are the VIP tickets starting off and also general admission?
I think, oh God, you can't quote me on it because see, I wasn't involved in it, but I think it's $75, but that pays for your 3 days.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Plus that original day and you get the swag bag and a dinner. I mean, come on, that's worth it. If you're going to be there for the 3 days, it's fantastic. Otherwise, I believe it's like $30 or $35 per day. That's not the second and the third, you can pay at the door if you want, but you might as well just do it up ahead of time. I mean, you're not bored. And this new place that we're at now, last year it was in Paris, Tennessee. It was one room and it held about 380 plus people. However, this year in Fort Worth, he's got 2 rooms and it holds about 400 people in each room. Oh, wow. And you're going to have a lot of the people there. D.A. Roberts is one of them. He's going to have a table there with his wares. He's got stuff from his wild hunt. He's got, patches. He's got his books, all of his books. Let me see. Nikki Redfern, he'll be there. Ken Gearhart. I mean, those guys were all there last year. And to be honest with you, they sold out. They sold out. All their books sold out. As one of the speakers and, that was there, I wanted to go pick up a few books, but I figure I'll let the people, the people and the fans and the other cryptozoologists there, let them go and pick up the books first, and I'll pick it up later. Barton Nunley's book, Inhumanoids, it was gone. It was gone within the first 3 hours.
Oh, wow.
I guess he didn't expect to sell out, but he did. And it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, just meeting everybody. Shane, just meeting everybody. Todd, how it is. You talk to these people online or you talk them on a telephone or even like I'm doing with you guys now. It's totally different when you're in person. Oh, and a lot of these people knew who I was, but I didn't know who they were because they're seeing my picture all the time and I don't see their picture. They're members. They're members of the different groups and everything. It was fantastic. It was just really, really good to meet everybody. Take pictures with everybody and do selfies and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it was just a good old time. Really, really fantastic. It's a lot better than what people can imagine. It's not just hanging out and being bored because you have a speaker up there every hour on the hour. And, you bring your notebook and just take some notes here and there because everybody's got something to add.
Oh, yeah. So what was it? What was the date on that again, Nick? What was the date?
Excuse me. September 1st, September 2nd, and September 3rd.
In Fort Worth.
And it's Fort Worth, Texas. Fort Worth. Yeah.
Awesome.
It's a really, really beautiful conference center over there, and it's a nice area. Unfortunately, I can't drive now though. I gotta take a plane this year.
Oh, bummer. You gotta fly out.
Yeah, and I can't bring any of my equipment with me to the show because the TSA would have a heart attack.
Oh yeah,
and they would put me in a black site and leave me there forever because they're not going to like it.
Yeah,
right. Yeah, no. Everyone that's watching or it will be watching, please look into going. It's going to be totally worth it. I know I'm still trying to confine with my wife to let me fly out just for the day or two because I've heard nothing but great stories out of Paris last year. I mean, John Miller went, and I recently met up with John at a concert back in March, and he was just telling me, he's like, dude, you'd love to go. You'd love it. So
you would.
The wife will let me, so fingers crossed.
all these people that you see on Facebook or, in the books that they write and everything, the guy that writes Mysterious Creatures, he's going to be there. I mean, it's fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Lyle Blackburn, he's there. Nick Redfern. Nicky's an amazing guy. I mean, he's an absolute book writing machine. It's just something.
Yeah.
So,
and I think I wanted to say, isn't Bart Nunley's going to be there too, right?
Oh, Barton's going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, the whole lineup. It's like the A-team, the whole A-listers, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, Jessica Jones, come on. This will be a first for her to be at a Dogman conference.
Yeah. I know she was just out at the SOR conference in Vegas this last weekend. Unfortunately, I didn't get to go due to work, and I'm just like, man, that was going to be my first one. So maybe Josh's conference will be the first one I get to go to.
That would be great. That would be great.
See you, and I don't know. I know Todd. I don't know. Did you plan on flying out, or you were flying out to Wisconsin? I think it's.
Yeah, we were going to go out to Wisconsin, but it's Eric's schedule at the farm on the Beast of Bray Road investigation. It's going to be tight, so maybe we'll be able to swing down to Fort Worth. It's a little closer because I'm on the West Coast now, so it's a little closer for us. So we should be able to come down for that.
Oh yeah, look me up, Todd, if you're there. Definitely.
Oh,
Shane, I can't miss you. You're easy. You're easy to find. But you know what?
Got the hat on there.
If they already have the book, like here, I have D.A. Roberts' book here. I'm actually in the book, and I wrote his foreword, and D.A. wrote, all kinds of stuff in there for me. Every one of them. Say you have the book already, you bought it. They're not going to say, oh, you got to buy it now. Nobody's going to do that. Oh, you want an autograph? Sure. Here you go. Bang.
Yeah.
Want me to say something? Fine. Everybody's doing it. Plus, we had a poster with all the pictures on. That's going to be coming out soon to advertise. A poster with everybody's picture. And this year I have to bring one of them Sharpies, a silver Sharpie, because the silver over the black, when you're signing it, you can't put black on black.
Exactly.
So unfortunately, I had to run around borrowing people's gold Sharpies or silver Sharpies, so you autograph it. I mean, 20 years from now, people are going to be putting these things on eBay, for crying out loud.
And
exactly.
There was a lot of people last year that were framed the first ever Dogman, because I think there was that last year's conference, there was nothing ever like it or to that scale. I know
never
said that he lost out on $3,000 to $4,000, but he did it for the fans. And that's one thing I love about Josh, is he gives back. And a lot of people say, oh, no, he doesn't. No, Josh.
Josh Turner is the only person that could have done what happened last year in Paris, Tennessee. Exactly. By what I mean by only is the only person that would have gotten all these people together, at the same place at the same time. Now this year he's getting all these people back together, minus 2 people, but he's getting more people on top of last year's. Yes. So you've got VIP night, but then you've got the second and the third where we're all going to be speaking on our subjects and, fielding questions. And you're going to have 2 days worth. I mean, it's jam-packed, absolutely jam-packed. And of course, there's the nightlife after that. If everybody wants to get together and, buddy around. I mean, I went with D.A. Roberts and a couple other people and his family over to a pizza place. And I mean, we had a great old time, talking stuff. I mean, D.A. and I have gone on a couple of sojourns out there, a couple field investigations. Yeah. Our favorite one is the one we went to Kentucky to LBL, and we're in my.
Hey Nick, I was going to ask you about that because I know you guys were out there checking that area out. I saw a little bit of information on it and stuff. Why don't you talk that a little bit for us, if you would?
Well, awesome. I'll tell you, Todd. It's a place that you want to go see. I've been to the Kentucky one, but not as deep into it as I've been to the Tennessee one, but not as deep as we went into the Kentucky area of LBL. And we were going there at nighttime, guys. I mean, 11:30 at night, pitch dark, but the canopy, the foliage in August was absolute. And the feeling in there was crushing, like it didn't want you there. And I mean, we got out of, we went with my H3 Hummer. I figured might as well go with something with, 4-wheel drive with a big engine and all that stuff, so we won't get stuck, because we went down every road we could find. I had a 6 million candle power spotlight. Oh, wow. I had other flashlights. I always have at least 3 flashlights with me and batteries. But at one point, we went to Nickel Cemetery in LBL, Kentucky. There was not one sound out there, guys. Not one sound. Nothing. And I know it wasn't from us, because at one point we were looking at Nickel Cemetery, and at one point out on our 2 o'clock, there was a creature out there of some sort. I don't know what it was, but it was staring at us. I'm sure I moved the spotlight to hit it with it, and this thing darts. It ran about 200 yards in a matter of like 5 seconds, because It appeared at our 9 o'clock on our left-hand side. Now, mind you, Nickel Cemetery was here, and it appeared over there. And it's like, what the heck is that? And I heard like a chesty type of a growl, not a throaty growl like you would hear from a wolf or a dog of that sort. This thing came from the chest, like you would hear from a tiger that's trying to throw out infrasound. Mm-hmm. And we're standing there going, what the hell was that? And we didn't see anything. I mean, I was ready. I had given DA a canister of bear spray. I had my canister of bear spray ready to go. I mean, that's our first line of defense. And I know it was it's not legal to have guns over there, but I'm sorry, I'm going to leave. And we were packing, Well, I'm going to leave the place one way or another. I'm going to leave. But yeah, it was dead silent, guys. No noise. And the funny thing is, we wanted to really check the place out a lot. We even came back during the daytime. Nighttime, we spent a lot of time there. Mm-hmm. But during the daytime, we never saw a deer. We never saw squirrels, bunny rabbits, birds. It's like, what the heck's going on here? We're out on foot, looking here, looking there. Now, Todd, I guess you would want to hear this one. The last day that we were there, we had went in that night previous, then we came back again that morning. So like 9 o'clock, we spent about 3 hours there. On our way out, going out the main exit, he goes to me, stop. Now, I had just seen that in my peripheral vision. Now, I have excellent peripheral vision, but I'm driving, trying to stay on the road, and out of my peripheral, I saw something dark near a tree. I really didn't think anything of it, because mind you, it's broad daylight. It's sunny out. He's yelling at me to stop. I hit the brakes, back up. We both run out of the car, and I go, did you see? He goes, yeah. He's looking straight dead at it. He saw a dog man by the side of one of the trees. Jesus. And we're both, I know I've said this before on other podcasts, but I'll repeat it for your people. We're both looking at each other like, well, what the hell we were going to do with it? My camera was packed away because we were going home now, right? We were getting out of the park. Camera's packed away. My phone's in my pants pocket. His phone's in his pocket. We jump out there. I've got my bear spray with me. I don't think he had anything with him except maybe a knife. And what were we going to do with this thing? This thing took off, but it went down an incline. Now, picture a 30-degree incline. Mm-hmm. There was trees by the side of the road. The leaves were not picked up. We had about a good foot, maybe a foot and a half of leaves, piled up over all these years. And the incline was about 30 degrees. Are we going to go chasing after this thing? We would have been tumbling down, to go after this. No way we would have found this thing. Mm-hmm. And just to back up a little bit, the day before, during the daytime when we were there driving around, we went to the Welcome Center. And we went in, and I went up to the lady behind the counter, an older lady, like by older, I mean she was maybe in her 50s. And I figured she would be mature enough to answer my question. I said, ma'am, is there anything you could tell us about the Dogman and the Kentucky LBL? She looked at me. She goes, no. And she just walked away. Right. DA tried the same thing with somebody there, and they fluffed him off. DA tried it at a couple of stores in the towns, and everybody ignored him, and they were kind of rude about it too. I tried it. I tried it a couple of times myself, but on like my third time, of course, the third time's the charm, I was getting gas across from the hotel I was staying at, and I saw these two guys in hunting gear. And I went over there and I said, hey guys, you ever hear of anything about, since you hunt, anything about a Dogman? It's a cryptid that's supposed to be in the LBL. And they both said, listen, what we're going to tell you is don't go in there at nighttime. It's a lot safer if you want to go during the daytime. He goes, it's dark as it is. And it was dark and it was just crushing. It just felt crushing on us when we went in. We felt like we were unwanted. And it's like, what the heck? This is a park. It's a freaking state park, for crying out loud. And the feeling, it was almost like a paranormal feeling. You know, like when you go into a haunted house, it's like, get out. You know, where we're going in here, and it's like you just have this feeling like you're being crushed and they don't want you around. And
so Nick, Nick, when you and DA had that sighting in your vehicle, how far were you outside of the entrance of the park when you saw that thing?
I would say another 2 minutes, we would have been out of the park. So, I mean, you know, you got to drive 10 miles an hour. Sure. They do have a speed limit there. Yep. I would say we were just like a quarter of a mile, which isn't nothing. It's nothing, a quarter of a mile, you know, seriously, you know, several hundred feet away from to pop out of the park. But there's all kinds of strange little places over there to go to, you know, like the Hotel California area, which is in the Tennessee side. You have other areas similar to that where they had people are able to park trailers. And they have these little, how could I say? I want to say concrete blocks in the ground, and out there's wiring and there's ways to attach electricity. You know, you can plug in over there and stuff. But they kind of rolled up these places where you can't get to it anymore. By what I mean by that is they got bulldozers and they kind of created berms. So the only way you're going to get to these places is by abandoning your car and walking in, because you can't drive your vehicle to these places anymore. They don't want you, I guess, to go to those areas. I really want to go and revisit the one where they had the family that was killed in Tennessee LBL, because that one you could really see that they put the berms up and it looks like they planted a bunch of trees. So it keeps people out. But you still see the little concrete, you know, in the ground. And you know that that's where they were able to hook up their trailers and everything. Yeah. But by a berm, I'm saying, guys, about a good 2-foot berm, you know, and grass grew into that berm and weeds and everything. And then they planted trees, you know, pine trees, and you're not able to really see it. You're like, oh, it's just part of the forest. I'm just going to avoid this, you know, but you can't drive there. You got to walk there.
So do you think they put the berms there for cover up to keep people out of the area, or just because of that was the massacre site, right?
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I think they just put it there to keep you out of the area.
Oh, okay.
In all sincerity, I think they did it to keep you from going to that area, and you're really not going to find it unless you know where you're going. You know, and like I said, that massacre happened of the family of 4 in the Tennessee LBL. And for everybody out there, LBL means land between the lakes. And you have one in Kentucky and one in Tennessee.
Nick, I also had another question I wanted to ask you. One of the things with the locals, why do you think they don't want to talk about it? Is it just because of the scrutiny, or is it just they just don't want you in their area? Do you think it's just to keep people out?
God, you know, in Tennessee, they were wonderful. They loved to talk about it. In Kentucky, they did not want to talk about it. I apologize to all you people in Kentucky, because when I went to the Texas Roadhouse to go eat, I went to the Waffle House. I mean, everybody was nice, but you bring up the subject of a cryptid, the Dogman, and suddenly we don't want to talk about it. I really don't get it. I couldn't get an answer because nobody wanted to talk to me about it. And DA was actually mistreated when he asked questions about it. So it was like, okay, I guess we'll forget about it. Right. I didn't want to. Go ahead, Todd.
So Nick, have you had any interaction? Like you said, you have people in Kentucky who weren't really willing to talk about it. Did you go over to the Tennessee side at some point and discuss or ask some of the locals those questions as well? And you said you got a better reception?
Yeah, several years ago, I investigated the killing site, and I also got to speak to the daughter of the lady that owned the luncheonette that the two sheriff's officers would come to every morning for coffee and little breakfast at 5:30 in the morning. And the morning after that massacre, I guess they had been out all night and all morning helping with the investigation. They came back to that little luncheonette. It was, it's like our gas station luncheonette places, combo type places, but she was more of a luncheonette, and she still had that same bench where the two sheriff's officers sat, and she was like in her early teens, and she remembered her mother talking to these two sheriff's officers saying, "You guys look terrible. What happened?" And they described to her mom what happened. Her mom has passed now, but she's older and she runs that luncheonette now. And I interviewed her, and she told me, what they said, how terrible it was, how they found the little girl in the tree, how the father had his one arm ripped right out of right off his body. Mm-hmm. How the mother must have put up a fight but was torn apart inside the trailer. It was a tow behind trailer, by the way, guys. It wasn't one of these, wasn't a trailer home like some people want to say out there, mm-hmm. And get their 15 minutes of fame. Yeah, I'm sorry. Like I said, please don't BS when you're out there, because you're just making cryptozoology look bad. Mm-hmm. Absolutely bad. And a lot of the stuff I've been talking about lately can be looked up and be found on the internet or in books or by real science stuff that I've been telling people about, about Sasquatch, about Dogman, about how they're able to just disappear and this and that, the theories that we've been researching for the longest time and coming up with. Yep. So, I mean, so it just makes cryptozoology look bad when they come up with these BS stories to try to make money and to get their 15 minutes of fame and be on a television program. I mean, seriously, I just can't put up with that, guys. I just can't.
Yeah. No, Nick, I had a real quick question. With the massacre site, do you believe it was just the one Dogman? Because I've heard multiple reports, and what I've came across in the last year and a half on the subject of the LBL, that there might have been 2 or possibly 3 that were working that were attacked the family. Do you believe in that, or what's your theory on
not having not been there, I believe it was 1 or possibly towards 2.
Possibly 2. Okay.
Yeah, possibly 2. And, at the time they had a lot of theories that it was a bear, but a bear doesn't do some of the things that happened. Yes, a bear could tear the man's arm off. Yes. But for that bear to get into that trailer and slash the wall, that'd be near. I mean, the door to the trailer is kind of small. Mm-hmm. And for that bear to have gone in there and attacked that lady and her son, that's kind of, I don't know. I just don't think so. And also the little girl was found in the tree, mm-hmm. and people go, oh, well, mountain lion. Well, mountain lion, they do that, but the mountain lion could not have torn off that man's arm. Exactly. And then went and grabbed, ran into the trailer and tore apart the mother, left claw marks, inside there. The mom supposedly had blood under her nails. Mm-hmm. All this information was hidden from us. And, it's just not put out there by the government, evidently. And if it was a mountain lion, yeah, they take their prey into a tree, but it couldn't have ripped the guy's arm off. So that was one thing it couldn't have done. The bear could have done the arm, but it couldn't have brought the girl up into the tree to die, rip her apart up there. And the mountain lion, would have been able to bring her up in the tree. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, generally they'll drag a deer up there and stuff, but and coyotes. I mean, coyotes wouldn't do that. None of that stuff. They wouldn't. I mean, they would. Yeah, I mean, they would. A bunch of coyotes would have killed them, but that slash mark that was in the trailer was supposedly this, wide like this, not like this, like a black bear, but really wide. As I've described, that we've had pictures that we've taken of dogman claw marks on trees, and it's usually wide. They're spread. So, I kind of think one or two dogmen, yes, at the time. Todd, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah, sorry, Todd.
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit about the mountain lion theories, the bear theories. I don't know, Nick, if you know, but I spent 12 years as a part-time game warden up in the Northeast in Connecticut. And of course, we've had mountain lion reports, and listening to hunters and things like that. Biologists, of course, they're not going to say that they're out there. In bear attacks, I've never heard of one. I've heard of some in Canada. You get pretty good sized Bruins up there. If they're sick, if they're extremely in starvation, mode, you might get attacks on humans. They have done it, but to do a family of that many people in that area, we're not talking about northern Canada here. We're talking about Tennessee.
Right.
So, that completely, to me, it takes the mountain lion theory out of there because of a lot of the points that you made. It takes the black bear theory out of there for me as well. I just don't see it. Coyotes, forget it. They're wolves. I don't know how many wolves there are down in Tennessee, but there haven't been any in New England for 200 years. You might get a rogue or something that pops through, and I know they've been reintroduced into Montana in the 1990s and stuff like that. Of course, the ranchers were all up in arms about it. When you start to do the check marks down the possibilities of what animals could have done that, they just start falling off the list until you get to dogman. That's my
just a real quick one for you. As you guys know, I mean, I have a bachelor's of science degree in zoology, and I'm going towards a master's in it. And I really study the wolves and the bears and the coyotes. Really top of my list. I mean, I got to study the other forms of life also, but I want to study their habits, their habitat, what they do, and this and that. Now, just to throw something at you, Todd, you were up in Connecticut. I had led a group up in Moscow, Maine, which is a little bit further up, and we found mountain lion tracks up there and mountain lion scat.
Sure.
So people don't understand. Oh, we don't have wolves here. We don't have gorillas here. We don't have mountain. I'm sorry. They travel. They're not going to the mountain lions are not going to stay in Arizona. They're going to travel, just like the wolves are going to travel and the coyotes are going to travel. You're going to get all kinds of animals in all kinds of different states.
Absolutely.
Just getting back, Shane, with the chupacabra. It was originally seen in Puerto Rico. Then Mexico is big time with it. It was also seen in Moscow, Maine, chupacabra. It was also seen in Russia.
I didn't know that.
In Russia, guys, a chupacabra in Russia. I mean, that's just to name a few places, besides Mexico and Puerto Rico. I mean, come on. Things travel, and there's reasons things travel. I mean, look at the Mothman, was originally seen in West Virginia. I've been down West Virginia a few times, and I have my ideas on that. Like I said, prove or disprove. And I've also had reports up in Chicago near O'Hare Airport and near a famous old church that's no longer in use up there. And I brought my team up there and we investigated that. Mothman has been seen on 9/11 near the World Trade Center before the planes hit. It was seen in Japan before that horrible tsunami. It was seen in Russia before Chernobyl. I mean, it was seen in Japan, by the way, by an American businessman coming out of his hotel room. And they say that, the Mothman is the harbinger of death, of doom. He's telling you when he shows up, just know some shit's going to happen.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Right. Well, that buckle on that bridge, the Silver Bridge and in West Virginia, that collapsed just after he was, flying around there. And the tsunami struck in Japan not hours after that fellow saw a Mothman. And we already know about 9/11 and about Chernobyl. Those are just to mention a couple sites where, he's been seen. And I mean, cryptozoology, guys, is just an interesting thing. It's my hobby.
Definitely is.
I mean, I have a full-time job, but cryptozoology is my hobby, and the reason I study zoology is because you got to know regular animals before you can claim that's a cryptid.
Exactly. Your famous line is prove to disprove. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, I want to prove or disprove. And I had not only an experience, but I don't call it just a sighting. I call it an encounter because it was like a minute and 10 seconds. I had an encounter with a dogman on a mountaintop area in New Jersey. And it's called Watchung Reservation. It's at the top of the mountain there. And there's a park area. And this thing just stood there eating a piece of deer. Didn't look at me, looked off to its left into the forest area, but didn't move. And I got this feeling, I didn't get any mind speaker. I just got this feeling that 7'7" of this thing and 650 pounds, I estimate.
Wow.
All muscle, claws on its hands. And it's saying to itself, I'm the apex predator here. Screw this guy. He's got 500,000 candle power of lights on me, but so what? He's not going to bother me. I'll rip him apart. And then it just goes and walks off. And I heard it. People say, oh no, it was spiritual, that something you saw was spiritual. Then why was its right claw holding a piece of deer and coming up to its mouth on a couple of occasions while I'm watching it?
Wow.
Why did it do that? Why, when it walked away, did the branches, the leaves crumble and I could hear it? How come I picked up a stench from this thing as it moved away? It smelled of blood and urine. I mean, I'm quite familiar with the different smells in a forest area. I've been out in the wooded areas for most of my life. And I know bear poop, what it smells like. I know what bears smell like. I know what a dead bear smells like. Same thing with a dead deer and all that out there. And it's like, this thing was like nothing else I've ever smelled. It was terrible. And
real quick, Nick, I wanted to ask you, what's the physical characteristics on it? Like, what color was it? What did it look like? The German Shepherds, or was it the super soldier looking type, or the hyena?
This one wasn't super soldierish looking. It was the canine variant 3. I got to get a better one, but the variant 3.
Okay,
over here,
one, right?
Yeah, and I mean muscular. I would say 650 pounds at 7'7". 7 feet, 7 inches tall. Reason, by the way, Todd, in case you don't know why I'm quoting 7'7", is because it was next to a stop sign. And I came back the next day with my full team kitted out, and we ran a ruler up to where my eye saw the top of its head on the stop sign. I mean, this thing was huge. Yeah, I've been next to NBA basketball players. Right? Guys are 6'9", and they're, huge. I mean, this thing was way bigger than an NBA basketball player that I've ever seen.
Wow.
I mean, this thing was and the shoulders were broad. It was like, you know, the lats and everything. I mean, it was muscular. Well, of course, it only eats meat, for crying out loud. It doesn't eat Dunkin' Donuts, you know, or sugary snacks or anything like that. The damn thing's out in the woods. I mean, it was right there in front of me eating a deer, you know, and ripped the whole chest apart. It probably already ate the heart and everything before I even got there. You see, Todd, what I saw was when I'm going around this oval is I thought I saw a big black bear, and then I caught the reflector on the back of a bicycle that was chained to the stop sign post. And I saw this big black object, which I thought was a black bear from a distance. And I had my Jeep Wrangler. I had my overhead lights and side lights, everything. So I just lit this up. And at the time, we used to call it candle power. There's a half million candle power. I was lighting this thing up, and I was about a good 30 feet away. So I was pretty close.
Oh, wow.
That's up close and personal.
Yeah.
No doubt.
I mean, it was no doubt in my mind this wasn't a black bear. Black bear go from 4 feet 6 inches to about 6 feet tall. Generally, that's their general height, the average. You will get, and I can tell you a story about one that was bigger, but you will get your oddity. Everything in life has an oddity. Everything's either bigger or smaller than what should be average. But I mean, black bear don't usually go over 6'2". And, you know, so I'm looking at this thing and I'm going, wow. I wasn't just standing outside my vehicle, you know, saying, here I am. I had bear spray in my left hand, and I had a Glock with 200 grain ammo in it. It was a 10 millimeter in my right hand. I'm not going to shoot at it because it's not messing with me. And why let, you know, why mess with when something's good? You know, I'm observing. Exactly. But guys, I'm going to tell you, this was back in 2013 when I just started cryptozoology a few years before that. I was in UFOlogy. I was in paranormal before all that. And I just got interested in cryptozoology. I never knew what the heck this thing was. I knew what a werewolf looked like, but I never knew what a dogman looked like. And that's a big difference.
Big difference. Exactly.
Big difference. It's like, wow, this thing is gigantic, you know? And people, in order to get an idea of what I'm talking about by gigantic, go to a zoo that has bears, brown bears or grizzly bears. I mean, I'm going to be posting a picture of an 8-foot grizzly bear. And when this thing's standing up at 8 feet, I mean, it's enormous. So just to get an idea, people, of what you're going to meet out there in the forest. And I say this all the time. You might go out there looking for Sasquatch or Mothman or Dogman. And what happens if they find you? Or what happens if a mountain lion, coyotes will attack humans unprovoked. They'll attack you. Wolves. I mean, what happens if you have this stuff out there? Spiders, venomous snakes. I mean, you go out in the forest, you're taking a chance. When I go out there with my team, we're prepared. We're kitted up. We have gaiters on that are made out of Kevlar for snake bites, you know, snake and spider bites. I have all kinds of really, really good bug repellent. And Shane, if you're going to go out into the woods, I'll send you this, you know, the name of this bug repellent that you can get.
Yes,
it works. It absolutely works. You know, my place of work, we've tested it out. And I mean, they went through 6 months of testing with this in different countries throughout the world, and it damn well works. And it's not DEET either. You know, it's not a chemical. It's natural. I mean, Skin So Soft, you know, works, but this stuff also works. So you don't have to smell like your wife. But I mean, this stuff also works, and it works real well. And D.A. Roberts will tell you, because when we were in LBL, Kentucky, those bugs were relentless. Absolutely relentless. Yeah. I squirted him with that sucker, and you know, nothing. I'm spraying myself with it. Yeah, I mean, it was some good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. But I mean, I go out there equipped. I mean, I've told Josh Turner, I go out there with holy water. I go out there with white salt, black salt, white salt. I have my laser here. I have I'll shoot it in back of me. All right. Those are individual beams. I hit you in the eye with this, I'm going to blind you.
Yeah,
I hit it. Now, what happens if I actually have the luck to come across a real alien, a UFO and a real alien, and he's aggressive? You know, I'm going to toss my electronic flashbangs, which flash 1200 lumens at a very high rate, and it's got 46 decibel sound. I've got 2 of them. All the guys have 2 of them. I'm going to try to hit these things with bear spray, with lasers in their eyes, with hitting their eyes with the flashbangs, and their ears with the decibels. I also have this. It's 146 decibel whistle.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
People might laugh, but you know, I did demonstrate this on a show one time, and they weren't happy about it.
Oh,
you know, but you might laugh. Oh, you've got a whistle? Wow. Yeah, I got a whistle, but this comes in handy if I get lost or I go down a hole or something. I'm trying to get people to save me, but at the same time, I'm gonna blow it. Hey, maybe a bear is coming at us, and I'm gonna hit it with the bear spray and hit it with light and try to disrupt its hearing also. Mm-hmm. I mean, this thing is a pain, guys. It is a pain when you blow that whistle. You know, we wear these things here. You know, so you can see what it, I don't know if you can actually see the walker. Mm-hmm. Now this amplifies my hearing about 27, 28 times. So now I'm out there and I'm on par with these animals. They can hear me coming, but I can hear them running through the forest. You know, that's what these walker ears are for. Plus, if I have to fire a gun or if I have to blow this ultrasonic whistle, it's not going to hurt my hearing. Oh. So it's a double. Yep. I might have the combat helmet on, but I also have these on. You fire a gun, you're going to, you know, say we all fired a gun at a Sasquatch, you know, all 7 of us, 308 rounds. The booming from that's going to put your ears out.
Yeah.
So you have this, it stops that. And at the same time, when things go quiet, you're able to hear each other real well.
Wow.
So, I mean, there's a lot of little tips and tricks that you can use out there when you're in a forest. Something else I want to mention is that take a tip from the military. Mm-hmm. You know the area in a forest that you want to go do your field investigation. Take binoculars and check out the area first. See what's in there. Mm-hmm. Every 50 to 100 feet, take those binoculars, wide angle, by the way, wide angle binoculars. The heck with having high power. You just want wide angle binoculars and look around. You might be looking around and there's a mountain lion in a tree. I always say, look up. Yep. People never look up.
Other words, always look up.
It's always look up. Yep. And I mean, that even goes, you know, Todd, that even goes if you're in the city, you know, and there's 8-10 foot buildings. Maybe there's a guy up there like in Las Vegas with a sniper rifle. Absolutely. And if you're sharp enough, the glint from his scope the sun might be shining off of that. And you might say, oh shit, wonder what that could be. Yep. You know, you might be able to save somebody in that case, or you might see the gun barrel sticking out a window. Look the heck up, people. Now in a forest, you got snakes in the trees. You got spiders. You ever see a wolf spider? They're bigger than my hand. That's a friggin' wolf spider. Oh, well, they're in your area. I hate to tell you, bucko. Yeah. Wow. Oh, and they've got tons of eyes all over there, and they're pretty damn fast. They're fast. They are fast too. You know, it's like on the Addams Family. You know, what is that, Cousin It or whatever that thing is? The Thing, or it's running around the hand. Well, these things can run.
Yeah.
But you know, Dogman climbs trees. Sasquatch is noted to do that. So why not look up? And like I said, something might find you, and it could be a snake, it could be a mountain lion, it could be Dogman, it could be Sasquatch. You never know what finds you out there. When I go boots on the ground out there with my guys, we go not 1 or 2 miles. We go usually 6 miles in. A lot of times we're in 10, 12 miles in. We also have GPS units, so small GPS units that are like $400 a piece, that we can actually communicate with other people because it runs off the iridium system of the satellites. There's an orange button in there if you really need somebody. You know, you're 10 miles in and you just broke your tibia and your fibula, and you're on the ground. You hit that orange button, it's going to send out first aid call that you need somebody, and they're able to locate you through that beacon. Yeah, my horse.
Well, hey Nick, I really like those headphones you were talking about too, especially if if you do have firearms with you and you have to come on, and use those firearms, especially in multiple shooting situations where you've got to recover, quickly and pick up that second shot.
Yeah.
Those things would be a godsend to have because they're keeping that decibel level down and you could still hear what the hell's going on.
Yeah,
I like
later on when you take them off, you're out there. Maybe you did fire your rifle. Remember, when you're up there like this, that rifle's going bang, a few inches away from your ears. That's going to hurt. And if you got other people around you firing, now that's really going to hurt.
Yeah.
So the sound.
Yeah. So that's besides the binoculars, people going in with super wide angle, and like I said, you don't need power on it. If you're just getting a super wide angle with maybe 8 power, you don't need 25 or 75 X power, maybe 8, but you want the wide angle and you want to be able to see detail, and it just might save your life. You might see a snake in the tree. But yeah, these Walker headphones, all you got to do is just turn them on, click. There's a little knob right here, click. And suddenly you're like Superman. You can hear things that are, 200 feet away. I tested them out.
Go for it, Nick.
They're not that expensive. They're maybe.
Oh, they're not?
No, it depends. It depends on where you're looking for them. Anywhere from $36 to $48.
Oh, wow.
But you know what? Like Todd said, you need them anyway. Because if you shoot something, or if you blow the hypersonic whistle, or you use electronic flashbangs, the flashbangs are 136, 146 decibels. They keep putting it out there, that sound. Yep. I mean, you're doing this to your own ears. Yep. So right there. Yeah. You need stuff like that.
Well, hey, Nick, what do you think about the low light binos? Have you tested out some of those things? I don't have a pair myself, but I've read a little bit of stuff about it. Have you tested any of those low light binoculars out?
Well, the low light binoculars will pick up whatever light's out there, but you really need the military version that you're either seeing in green or you're seeing in white phosphorus. I mean, that's what you really, really, really need, because that'll pick up the starlight. And if you can afford it, which not many people can, if you have the binos that are thermal, you could switch from the night vision goggles to thermals. Now, some people have the inexpensive ones that'll cost you a little bit under 200, but they're shooting out a infrared beam. Now you got to understand something, and we've tested this out. The deer, Sasquatch, Dogman, they're going to be able to pick up on that infrared.
Yeah.
Bear even pick up on that, because people put their trail cams out and they'll notice when they go back a lot of times, if it's an area with bear in it, the bear don't like that, and they'll swat the damn things and bust them open. So there's no more camera. They could actually see infrared. Remember something, as humans, we can only see 10% of the light spectrum. Right. Now, I'm not making this up. This is stuff your people can look up online. There's that 90% that's out there. Now, think about it, Shane, right? Thinking outside the box, what is out there in that other 90% that we don't see? Could it be people from other dimensions?
Possibly.
Out there, and they're not able to touch us, but they're able to appear here on our planet? Yeah. something I've said many times, and this can be looked up by your people. Here's where I'm giving out true fact, okay? Scientific facts. Science. Quantum physicists have proven that there's 11 different dimensions. Now, lends us to the footprint that ends, the Sasquatch footprints, right? Oh, you're following 20 or 30 footprints and suddenly it ends. Where did he go?
Disappeared.
Did he open up a portal and go to another dimension? And I'm going to get back to that in another second, though, because I want to mention something else. Or here's the other part to it. Or did he get beamed up into a spaceship? So is he an alien that's here with spaceships up there, or is he interdimensional? Now, in order to be interdimensional, they vibrate at a different frequency than us humans vibrate at. Okay, so their energy, they must be putting out an energy. This is pure science, real science. Okay. So they're putting out an energy that they can open up a portal and they can go through that portal and also come back here to the earth. Or, like I said, the other half of the equation is they might be alien and they're being beamed up. But in any case, they must be emitting a different type of an energy. Now, with that different type of an energy, the light spectrum comes in, right? They're coming from a different dimension. Maybe they can see and they could utilize, that's the key word here, the different levels of light that we cannot see. Now, there are humans on this earth that are special, as we all know. I've met a special human when I was in high school. He was just average size. He was like 5'8", but he could jump and his elbow would be above the rim. His elbow, right? He was twice as strong as he should have been for his size and body weight. Twice as strong without even working out with super heavy weights or anything like that. I mean, the first time he went down the bench press, he did 225 for 25 reps. Never did it before in his life. This is a 17-year-old boy, right? So you're going to have those special people. And there's other special people out there that have different abilities. They're able to see the light spectrums a little bit more than we can see them. They might be able to see 16 to 20% of the light spectrum, whereas we can only see 10%. And as you know, there are people, our brains, we don't use all of our brain capacity, but there are people out there like some of these world-class chess masters who can actually think super fast, like a computer. Their brain capacity is up to 25%. So who's to say that these beings, they might be from another dimension and they have special properties about them, certain gifts that we don't have.
Sure.
Yeah. You and Jeremiah interviewed a gentleman, was it not too long ago? It was like a week or two ago. And he had shot at the Dogman and he saw in different light spectrums. I remember he was mentioning something about that.
He's one of those things. That guy is one of those special people.
Yeah.
He's one of those special people because we checked him out and he can actually see that stuff. His reaction time is a bit faster than your normal human. His brain thoughts are faster. And he's the real deal. He's just like one of those special people. But believe it or not, there's people out there that are even have more talent than he does. So he's in a mid-range, and there's people out there that are at a higher range. So I mean, and they're out there. They're on the internet. They're just special people. Gifted. Truly gifted. Yeah. I mean, I think back and I feel a little honored to have met this individual who went to the same high school I did. And he was crazy fast, very strong, very humble guy. Humble guy. He never bragged about anything. And, he just had this ability.
He let his abilities get to speaking.
Yeah. And I mean,
so Nick, what do you think? Let me interrupt. Let me just jump in there and
go ahead.
Since we're talking about, interdimensional, possible creatures and Bigfoot and the like. When you saw this first Dogman, he was right there. He was within 30 or 40 feet of you. You're looking at this thing, and you thought about this probably for forever after that to try to kind of figure out what this thing was. And you're talking about interdimensional. Do you think was a possibility that this thing could have been interdimensional, or did he look for flesh and blood and there was no question about it that he was of this earth type of
Well,
thing?
Todd, you can be interdimensional and still be flesh and blood. It's just that your energy system, your energy changes you to enable you to use a portal and go through it, and then you appear. But something I didn't mention in this show anyway, I've mentioned in other shows, is that after he walked away and I didn't see him anymore, I didn't pursue him. What I thought in my mind was, oh, maybe he's trying to go around, so I'm covering my 6. And I said, maybe I'm going to get back in my vehicle and I'll come back tomorrow. But as I'm going into my vehicle, I noticed about 120, 130 feet to my right in the air was a round orb, and it was a white light orb in the sky. Now, I've spoken about this in the past. I did a 6-month study of 1995 to 2015 of people that had seen or encountered a dogman or a Sasquatch. And I had to one point, I got up to 460 some odd people. And after 6 months, I stopped it. But then I kept getting in information more and more and more. Now, out of these people, it turned out that 92% of them saw a orb in the sky before, after, or before and after their encounter or their sighting of a dogman or a Sasquatch.
Sure.
So what does that lead you to believe? Is that some sort of interdimensional beam? Is that some sort of a UFO out in the sky, a space? I want to call it a spaceship, just to be, common wording. That's all.
Yeah.
And it beamed down. But this creature that I saw, this dogman that I later learned out was a dogman. It took me a couple of years to find the name of what it exactly was, but I did. Any case, it's walking that way towards that orb that was in the sky. And I didn't put 2 and 2 together at the time until I started thinking about it. And then I got more and more and more reports from people. And that's when I started to compile all this evidence saying there's got to be something to it.
Yeah.
And Todd, Shane, it was at 92% after I cut it after 6 months, but I kept getting reports. And at this time, I'm close to 700 reports at this time.
Oh, wow.
Of people that have seen a dogman or a Sasquatch and seen a light before, after, or before and after. Now, some people didn't see anything in the sky. Now, mind you, there's a thing called an encounter and there's a thing called a sighting. Sure. You're driving down the roadway. There's a cornfield on your left and the right. In front of you, a dogman runs across the road and goes into the cornfield. That's a sighting. Exactly. Okay. I had an encounter because the thing stood there.
Sure.
And then said, check me out. Look at me. Ha ha. I'm an apex predator. I'm not afraid of you. I'm going to finish my meal and I'm going to walk off. Now, after I cut it, right, in my books and everything, I said, I'm going to cut it. I kept getting more and more reports with the objects in the sky. And like I said, it's close to 700 at this point. And it was 92% of the people who had the sighting or encounter saw the objects in the sky. At this point, it's now 94% of the people.
Wow.
So that's, I don't know.
That's huge. Yeah.
It's very huge. So people need to pay attention. So when I interview people and I say, all right, you saw a dogman or you saw a Sasquatch. All right. What color was it? How big? What was the weather? What time of the day of night? I'll ask them all these questions. What did it, and I'll wait till the end though. And if they don't tell me if they smelled anything, I'll ask them that straight up. But a lot of times the people that have really had a solid sighting will tell me about a scent. But anyway, the people have been saying, yes, I did see something in the sky. as a matter of fact. It was a moving object. It was a white light going this way. Okay. Guys, we got to put all these little pieces together, little by little.
It all connects.
Absolutely. So here's another thing, Shane and Nick. We were, and I don't know if, I think, Shane, you probably watched Eric's Mintel's investigation over at the farm in Elkhorn. They saw a unidentified or UAP, whatever you want to call them these days, UFO, in the sky on that same investigation. So there's another data point that just popped into my head when I was talking to Eric about that. He said, yeah, there was a UFO up there. When they heard that growl, I mean, they saw eye shine. They heard that guttural growl. They didn't see the silhouette of the thing, but they knew it was out there, or something was out there. And at the same time, they're seeing that object in the sky that was definitely not a conventional aircraft. So there's another point right there, what you're talking about, Nick. So that's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah. I mean, people need to start writing these little points down and saying, all right, there's a dog man. He just disappeared. Now start looking up. You never know. You never know. You might be able to you might be one of the people that adds to it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Just happens to be that way.
Yeah. Oh, real quick, Nick, I had a question. I wanted to ask you a question with your sighting. Did the dogman have a digitigrade leg structure or more the hominid leg structure?
No, it looked more like a human knee structure. I didn't get to see the feet.
Oh, really?
Because I was trying to pay attention, because what's going to hurt you is the hands. And I was paying attention to the shoulders, because if he turned towards me and looked at me, it was like time to hit you with the bear spray, brother. You know, I was going to let that whole canister out on him and then start firing. But he didn't do anything like that. I would estimate, from what I could see with all that light on him, it was pitch black hair. And the hair, I would say, was like 3 inches long.
Oh, wow.
Human-like knees. I didn't get to see the back, so I can't tell you if it had a tail. The snout and everything did look like a wolf, just like the Variant 3. Very, very muscular, heavy. I mean, to me, I'm going to estimate 650 pounds, if anything, because this thing was big.
Yeah.
Broad. The ears were up, like a German Shepherd type ears. Nails at possibly 3-inch nails. I mean, basically, I only could see the right hand because the right side was towards me. He wasn't looking at me. He was just looking off into the woods. Like I said, totally ignored me. I was able to look at him. The eyes, as I can recall, were like an amber colored, like a yellowish amber. A lot of people say blue eyes. A lot of people talk about red eyes. No. I mean, my lights were white lights and they were shining, and this thing had amber colored eyes.
Amber colored.
So that's the other thing that we were talking about in a couple of shows, Shane. With reflectivity of the eyes, the tapetum lucidum, like a normal, animal might, you'd be shining up on them, you get eye shine, it's coming back. A lot of people now are talking about, these eyes are, they're either yellow or they're other different colors, whether they're blue or red or whatever, but they're glowing back at you, which is not the tapetum lucidum. That's a glowing eye, or some sort of bioluminescence or something like that. So I was wondering what your take on that was, Nick.
Yeah, it wasn't. It doesn't look like your normal animal's eyes, because animals have that chemical in their system, and the shine comes off of them. I mean, if you see raccoons or an owl at nighttime, you'll be able to tell what's going on. But this thing it wasn't just a normal animal shine. It was a slight glow to it. Slight glow. Yeah. It wasn't no beams or anything. It was just a slight glow. Right. That was about it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well, Juliana said the recent attack in Oregon, and the guy said it had glowing golden eyes. Have you heard about that report, Nick?
I haven't. To be honest with you, I
I'll have to
haven't.
send you that link. I was just Brown Dwarf actually sent it to me about a month ago, and the guy fought it off, and he said it was a larger wolf because he was out mushroom hunting, I believe, with his family, and he was attacked by it, and he actually got sent to the hospital because it bit him. But when he said he smacked at it, the only thing that saved him, he said, was his bucket. I think it's the same one that's in Oregon, but I'll send you the report on it, and maybe you can kind of grasp what you think of it. But
yeah. Well, I mean, the
It was-
golden eyes, amber is like gold and yellow, so that follows through. But I've had a lot of reports out there that come into me, blue eyes, and you do get a lot of reports also with the red eyes. The majority of the reports I do get are an amber or a yellow colored. However,
sure.
this guy that you were talking about that fought it off, it must not have been a dog man, because you whack it, this thing's going to whack you back one time, and it's probably going to kill you.
Yeah,
this must have been a regular wolf of sorts.
Yeah, I'll definitely send you the reports. I mean, other people were saying that the gentleman that actually had, I don't really remember the key details to it, but there was something that the wolf just didn't act like a normal wolf, and that it did attack him, but he got away by smacking it, I think, with a bucket. If I'm not correct, is that right, Juliana? See if she'll send that back to us, but she might know more.
Any animal, if you whack it in the nose, is going to back up. If you whack a brown bear or a grizzly in the nose, well, it's going to rip you apart because it's going to be pissed. You heard it, it's going to hurt you back worse. And that's the truth. And remember, a grizzly can go from 0 to 50 in 3 seconds. And people are going to ask why. The reason is the super strength of that animal. Just think about it. The hip structure, the thigh structure, it is moving. And I'm not just kidding. You look this up on YouTube, and you'll see a hunter was filming a grizzly bear going after a deer. This thing was booking. I mean, it was really moving. Okay, right there. Yep. If you're in the water and you hit a shark on the nose, it'll back off. It'll go away from you. So, I mean, that's something that's been proven, the nose. Yep. But grizzly bears and brown bears, no. Polar bear, forget about it. You're dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could pull that on the family dog, hit him on top of the nose, and you'll back him up pretty good. But not on a grizzly or a brown bear or a polar bear.
You could shoot a grizzly bear and disable his right arm, with a high-powered rifle. It's coming to kill you.
It's still coming.
It's coming. Yeah. And speaking of grizzly bears and like Kodiaks and brown bears, they have mated in upstate Alaska with polar bears, and they call those growler bears.
And I mean, heard that.
Chip, there you go. Cryptozoology. Look it up. You'll see it. but those are real. That's a damn real thing. Just like those lions and tigers, when they mate them, they call them ligers. Have you seen what they look like in real life? A liger?
Never. No, I haven't.
A liger is like 3 times the size of a regular lion. 3 times the size. It's gigantic. You got to look, Shane, you got to check this out on YouTube.
I'm going to check it out.
See where there's this guy walking next to a liger, and it's only a teenage. It's not a fully grown one. This thing it's up to his chest, and
on all fours?
Yeah, on all fours. The back was up to its chest.
Oh, wow.
And it kept wanting to go one way, and the guy kept pushing it, wanting it to go another way. And see, the ligers grew up with this guy since they were little cubs. So they weren't about to hurt him, and they're trained. You can train something, if you get them as a baby, and they won't go back to their wildness. And the only thing is, like with those 2 magicians, the one magician that got hurt on stage by the white tiger, that tiger was trying to protect him. Yeah,
that's Siegfried and Roy.
Right. Well, the reason that guy got injured is because the tiger scruffed him. You know how you would scruff a cat or scruff a dog on the back? And, the moms do this when they're babies. They pick them up by their scruff. Well, the tiger picked him up by his scruff, and of course broke his spine and everything, and got into the fluid of his spinal area, and made him quadriplegic. But the thing is, the tiger was trying to protect him. It wasn't trying to hurt him. Not at all. No, not at all. But see, that's their natural instinct. And while it wasn't trying to hurt him, it inadvertently hurt him.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, all this stuff everybody can look up. That's like why I tell you, when I talk to people on an interview, I'm going to give you stuff that's real, and you'll be able to find it.
Yeah, and that's what I love about you, Nick, is you're straight to the point. No
tell it like it is. Yeah, absolutely.
I don't try to make money off of this, guys. I do this for the love of the research, and I love being out there in the forest area, in the wilderness area. I love the people in cryptozoology that I've met, the majority of them. Now, there's a 2% out there, but the majority of the people in cryptozoology, they're wonderful people. I mean, Jeremiah Fountain, who you interviewed.
Yep, I just earlier.
I consider him to be a brother. I mean, we're not blood brothers, but I can say if he were to call me up right now, I'd leave the interview and go over to his place. If he needed me right now, immediately. There's another fellow out there called Greg Yost. They call him Squatch Man. Greg's about 6'9". He is a wonderful person, salt of the earth guy, former Navy man and everything. I mean, just such a nice guy. There's just so many nice people out there that in cryptozoology that you wouldn't believe. And the people at the Paris conference I met, they were really nice. Really, really wonderful people. But you're going to get your people who are in this to make money, to make their 15 minutes of fame, like you said before, and to make money off of their story, their made up story half the time. I mean, you've got people out there that talk about people that hunt dogman, and this one guy went after a juvenile dogman that was 6 foot tall, and he put his hand down his throat and ripped his tongue out and killed him. Bull! I'm sorry, bull dinkies.
Yes, and the AI generated photos definitely don't help either. So,
oh my God,
some of these photos are really good, though. I mean, the good cover art, but when you put a made-up story behind it, I mean, clickbait for subscribers.
Somebody posted one in my International Dogman Project USA, because as you know, we have different sections. But the USA one, somebody posted in there a dogman in the snow, and there was people talking about it. All right, I threw it up. I threw some of my computer programs at it, and I enhanced it. I cleared it up. I threw it up on my 65-inch screen, and I looked, and I'm saying, what jumps out at me right away? There was no tracks behind it. It had to make tracks, guys. Exactly. There was no tracks behind it. What they did is they photoshopped it into it. It's CGI.
Yep. Yeah. Nick, one thing I wanted to ask you real quick. You want to tell us more about the International Dogman Project for people that are curious and want to join?
Well, we're a no-kill organization. We have the IDP USA. We have a lot of state chapters. We have IDP Southeast, Southwest, Northwest right now. Maine is a big chapter. We have state chapters. Jeremiah Fountain graciously took over the reins of the IDP New York State, and that's an up-and-coming chapter. We have them in West Virginia, Ohio, Wisconsin. We're opening up different sections all the time. All you have to do is put International Dogman Project up there, and the different ones will come up. And if you want to join the one that's in your area or several, we also have International Dogman Project Nordic countries, which is based out of Finland. And we do a lot of the European stuff based out of that section over there. So you're going to get some, I mean, you might have splash over stories from some of the other ones, but if you're a member of the Nordic one, you're going to get a lot of out of the United States stories, and stuff like that over there. A lot of European stories. I'll post a lot of the Canadian stories over there also, because it is out of the country. Once in a while, I'll get people that want to know about a certain area, and I'll go back into my books and everything and my notes. And I mean, if you could see my desk, guys, it's a mess. What I do is I rewrite everything. I write stuff on these pads, and then I write them into real notebooks. I date and time, and I write them into notebooks. It refreshes my memory about what happened, at the same time, and it clears my desk up. But I'm going to tell you right now, I've got a ton of stuff here, and it's not just on Dogman. It's on Sasquatch. It's on gargoyles. You name it. Well, I do all the cryptids, all of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't know if Jeremiah said anything, but we used to do the Skookum session on Wednesday nights. We would have like 11 guys. A couple of things happened, and we decided to totally do away with the Skookum session.
Okay.
And we're coming up with a new program, and it's going to be Gary Spikes, Jeremiah Fountain, and myself. We're going to discuss a different cryptid each week.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
instead of discussing, we used to take questions about Dogman or Sasquatch, and we would discuss the question, discuss it with everybody, and we would beat it to death until there's nothing left. At this point, we're going to take cryptids that people have never even heard of, and we're going to discuss the cryptid of the day. So that should be interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong. We'll probably do Dogman. Maybe we'll pick one of the ones that we have here. Maybe the hyena Dogman, which I've only had.
Interesting one.
Yeah, I've only had like 11 accounts on that, and one of the accounts was out of Ohio. So I mean, that would be very interesting.
Sure.
Have you added Ryan Tremblay's? Yeah, his was a Dogman variant. Is that on your list of hyenas?
I don't know. I would have to check. I know Ryan does a ton of research, and he basically keeps it to himself for his own little group. He doesn't really put it out there a lot. I've asked him to, and unfortunately he's got his personal life to deal with and other things, so he's pretty busy.
Oh yeah.
So sure. I mean, I can't force the guy.
Dogman. Yeah, I know his was a hyena variant, so I was like, oh, that'd be a perfect one.
Yeah.
So
out of Arizona, was it? Or
I really appreciate you have. Oh, my bad, brother. I have a delay. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it was out of Arizona. Out of Arizona.
Right.
It was in 2019 or 2020. It was only a couple of years ago.
All right. Did he publish it any place? Because I don't recall seeing that.
He's told it on DA show, and he's told it on with Nighthawk, and I think he's also went on Dogman Encounters, and he's told about it there. So, but yeah, he was babysitting his dog's or his friend's dog, and he went to go let the dog out, I think, or he went to go over there to check on it. And he had ran into the dog or the hyena variant. I think he can get more into detail. I just remember the little basics of it. So
yeah.
Yeah, I think
the
one cool report. Maybe you look into
the one out of Ohio, which was told to me a few years ago. The lady that saw it, this thing was 7 feet tall, and it had a hyena-looking face, muscular body, but it was the shape. It was like bent over a bit. It had like a hunched back, and it was like nasty looking. And she was like, she didn't know why the thing didn't attack her. It was amazing her story. But I'll have to come out and put that out into the IDP, into the archives over there for people to read.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so if you want to join Nick and join the IDP, just hit him up on Facebook. You guys also have another podcast, On the Trail, in Search of Living Legends.
Right. Yeah. Well, Jeremiah and I do that, and we interview guests just like you guys do.
Yeah.
And for our area, we've got some interesting guests that are in the hopper coming up. A couple of things have been happening, so we didn't do anything the last couple of weeks. But we're going to start picking it up next week, along with the Wednesday show with Gary. So the three of us will be discussing a different cryptid. If anybody wants to hear a particular cryptid, they could reach me on Facebook Messenger, or email, or by phone. I mean, to be honest with you, Shane, Todd, I get telephone calls, I get text messages on my phone, I get Facebook messages,
You're a busy
emails.
Guy. I mean, you get it all.
By the time I get through all that stuff, it's like, time to go to work. That's about it. I work the middle shift, and I'm usually out there by 11:30 at work, and we get off like 5:30. I go home, I grab a few hours of sleep, I get up, and people will catch me just after about 4 hours of sleep or so, and I'm drinking coffee and having breakfast, and I'm reading my Facebook emails and stuff, and messages, and trying to answer people and trying to okay people to join groups and answer questions, and people are reporting situations that have been happening. It is busy, but like I said, cryptozoology is a lot of fun.
It is,
and as long as the people out there don't try to, they try to make money off it, but false things, fake things. You don't want to do that.
Side of this,
you don't want to do that. No, you don't want to do that at all. And when they do that, it makes us all look bad. Because I know two guys out there in particular that do YouTube things. People are ardent listeners of them, and they only put out what they want to put out and only what they want to hear, and they want your story so that they can make money. That's all.
Yep.
Sure.
Make money.
I don't do that. I don't do that. And I had patches made up when I was with that other organization. I mailed them out for free. I never charged anybody for them. And I just like the research. The research is phenomenal, guys. When I go to Arizona or Texas, for instance, and I go to a library or I go to an old bookstore and I look at their microfilm, their microfiche, the newspapers, they show stories about the Thunderbirds. They have stories out there about the chupacabra, even back in the 1800s. They didn't call it a chupacabra, but it seems similar to what we're seeing out there, these days with the skin diseased animal, hybrid animal. I mean, they'll tell all kinds of different stories. I came across a story of these trappers from the late 1700s. They were French trappers, and they would travel on the waterways, and they would get the skins, and they would trade with the American Indians, and the trappers got hunted down by dogmen because they raided a Native American burial ground, and they took the jewelry from the graves of these Native Americans. Mm-hmm. And the dogmen supposedly are protectors of the Native American burial grounds. Yes. But these four trappers, 3 of them were killed immediately within that year. And then the last trapper, even though he sold and got rid of the last piece of jewelry that he took, one of the dogmen found him in his home 10 years later and ripped him apart.
Holy,
so, what was it? What was it? Well, that's the reason why you got to read these old newspaper reports.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
great.
Interesting. Wow. I'm going to look. Like I said, Nick, you're like a mentor in this field for people. Like
absolutely.
I've been doing it for a year and a half. And I know Todd's only been doing it for about 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, we respect what you do and with everything that you've shown, not just with Dogman. I mean, with Sasquatch and all these other cryptids. So, and I had a real quick question. Juliana said, where is Nick on Facebook? We could look up Nick on the International Dogman Project USA pages or any of the IDP pages and look up his name, Nick Valente. And we are on Facebook as well. We also have a Facebook group, West Coast Dogman Project, as well as many other cryptids. But yeah.
You froze. I think we're having a picture problem here. You kind of froze. Oh, there you go. You're unfrozen.
Okay, my service sucks. But yeah, Nick's.
But you had to tell all your people yes, most of it they caught it. But to tell all your people, if they look up your sites, they're going to see there's a lot of information that you guys put out there. Just like we try to put it out there. I also run the Quad Coalition of Sciences, which is all the cryptids, the paranormal, UFOlogy, and regular zoology and archaeology. That's all the sciences combined, and we put out a lot of stuff for people to read a lot of time, like every day, and it's a good place just to catch up on things. I generally like to put stories out there for people to listen to that are, like maybe an hour long or so. Like on a Friday or a Saturday night or maybe a Sunday afternoon. Say they're at home and they want to chill out and they want to just catch up on different stories and stuff. They can come to the site and click on one of the many stories that we have on there. And and the narrators on a lot of these stories they're very entertaining. Sure. sort of Josh Turner-esque, except they're not talking to anybody in particular. They're talking to you, the audience, and they're telling the stories that has been reported to them. And I spoke to one guy and he's telling me, he goes, he doesn't make these up. He gets these stories that come into him. And, like, what can I say? He puts it out there.
That's what it's all about, guys, as well as I do. It's all about information sharing. It's all about trying to figure out what this phenomenon is. And, Nick, you're out there, you're doing it. You're sharing that information with everybody. We share what we find and what we know. And like you said, everybody is really great in the community. And, it's been a real pleasure to talk with you tonight, to get your take on this thing and this phenomenon, and we really appreciate you sharing your experiences with us tonight. It's been awesome.
It's been a lot of fun, guys. I go on the different shows, and I try to answer the questions that the people have there, and anything. And any of your audience have anything in particular that they want to know?
It looks like let me see. I think Juliana might have had a question. Let me see. Nick, first episode cover. Oh, they're talking about your new podcast, Cover Man Bear Pig. Nobody does. And I bet it would get a bunch of hits, especially if you hit Back to South Park.
Man Bear Pig. That would be interesting.
Yeah, but Nick, I also wanted to give you a special shout out to your admins, Duffy Downey and Karen Butler, and everyone at IDP that helped run your organization. And
they're fantastic.
They are, and they follow by the rule, and I love how you run your organization.
I have Duffy Downey, tough as nails. She picks up everything. Karen Butler, she's been with me since I started in the other organization with only 2 people. I stole her away from another organization from Europe. Karen is, I just can't tell you how she's gotten me through times. And just recently, I have Jeremiah Fountain. He joined us in our admin group. See, we have a special admin site that nobody can actually see on Facebook. I wish I could show you the picture. You know how everybody has their cover picture? Our cover picture is a bomb shelter, and we're in the bomb shelter, and we've got like a periscope, and we've got antennas and everything. And on the land, which is like 12 feet above, because we're covered in dirt, the bomb shelter, I have different cryptids running around, and I have a spaceship on top of there too. Like I have the Mongolian death worm, I have an alien, I have a Sasquatch, I have a chupacabra, a dogman, Mothman. I wish I could show you that picture. It's hilarious, but it's a total private group. Nobody could see it but us. That's where we go to hang out. It's our safe place. We can discuss what we want, and we discuss, coming projects and this and that and everything. And we know it's our safe place. Nobody can interrupt. Nobody can, put nasty comments.
Exactly.
And we'll get those things every once in a while too. We'll get those crazy comments and.
Well, Nick, I really want to appreciate you coming on. Like I say, it's a huge honor, and hopefully in the near future we could do a part 2, and maybe we could talk more on the Dogman research, what you find out in the field.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've got a bunch of recent things that I just did. Boots on the ground. I was in North Carolina twice. I was down Lambertville, New Jersey, of all places. Like I was telling you. Yeah. I've been down there 3 times now. Plus, there was one of my members who is from Lambertville. He reported a sighting, and he posted some stuff today. So, if you want to do a part 2 and a part 3, there's just so much. There's a lot to cover, guys. And
absolutely.
Plus equipment and stuff like that. We can always talk about that.
Yeah, we started to pull some of that stuff in tonight on the equipment side. We definitely want to do that for sure. Yeah, what do you think, Shane?
Yeah.
Let's get Nick back for a couple of discussions on all of those, all of the above. Let's put D, all of the above, right?
Yeah, I'd be honored to do that. We could do a part 2, part 3. You let us know, Nick, when you're available, because we know you're a busy guy.
Yep.
We're busy guys too, but we can find the time to do this. Because I talk Dogman.
Yeah,
all day,
yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
Well, hey.
But like I said, there's a lot of the stories I could have given you, you know, current stuff and even past stuff of the last year or so. But yeah, we'll get together. We'll figure a time out.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be perfect, Nick. I really appreciate it again, brother. Everyone, go catch Nick on Facebook or on YouTube under International Dogman Project, or check out one of his 2 podcasts. Nick, we really appreciate having you on, brother.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you guys having me, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Brother.
Have a good night.
Real quick, Todd, did you want to say who we're going to have on next week?
Yeah, so we got June 1st, we got Eric Mintel coming on. Then we got, I'm not sure of the dates, I don't have the schedule in front of me, but we've got Steven Seagal coming up. And who else? Oh, yeah, we've got Christelle coming up, who's got some personal encounters from her neck of the woods in, where was she? In Oregon there.
Oregon.
So, yeah, we got some good stuff coming up.
Yeah. So we got that. And then we start the UK series in July. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Well, you guys, thanks again so much. And I hope you have a great evening. And Nick, like I say, brother, I couldn't thank you enough. I appreciate you coming on.
Oh, I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
We'll see you in the near future.
Good night
Absolutely.
now.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks again.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Take care.
This is 10% luck, 20% skill, 15% concentrated power of will, 5% pleasure, 50%